And we are live. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Today's podcast will be regarding the top 5 Mark Wahlberg films. The reason why we're doing this is because today, Transformers: The Last Night came out today. So, unfortunately, it was released today. So, in honor of doing that, we're going to be doing top 5 movies of Mark Wahlberg because Mark Wahlberg is the main actor in the new Transformers film. So, with me are 2 other guests. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves and, all that kind of good stuff?
I'm going to be completely honest. I had a thing that I wanted to say as, I guess, introducing myself, but I completely forgot. So I'm just going to say my name is Andrew Hayes, and I like Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic actor. A really great actor, for sure. Mm-hmm. And would the other guest like to introduce himself?
Hello, everybody. I'm back on Diego's podcast. You might know me as Nick Canino. I am well known for movie reviews and some other type of good shit I have on my channel, such as podcasts and other stuff. And back on Diego's podcast doing the top 5 films, especially since I fucking love Mark Wahlberg.
Oh yeah, Mark Wahlberg is great. He's done so many good movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm definitely excited to talk about my favorites, and I want to hear what you guys' favorites are too. So we'll be doing a top 5 list, like how I've been doing, like in all of my other podcasts, and at the end of that, we'll be saying our least favorite, our worst Mark Wahlberg film. So, without any further ado, let's get started. So here's how it'll go. I'll go first. Andrew, you can go second, and Nick Canino, you can go third. All right.
Okay, good. All right.
And like all my other podcasts, if you notice your number 5 is the same as my number 5, just join in the conversation. There's no need to, wait till your turn so we can find out if it's the same movie and whatnot. Okay, so
right.
All right, so let's get started. I'll start. All right, number 5. My number 5 is a movie. It's one of the collaborations that Mark Wahlberg has done with director Peter Berg. And it's the first collaboration. That movie is Lone Survivor.
Nice.
Lone Survivor
nice.
Is a really awesome movie. I saw it back in theaters in 2014. It was released in 2013, but it was one of those movies that had a limited release. So, eventually I saw it after I did my best of the year list, which sucks because I would have made my best of the year list had I seen it back in December. But with that being said, it's a really good movie. It's about a mission that happened in June 2005 where a bunch of United States military, they were looking for a notorious Taliban leader. I don't remember his name, but something happens and the mission completely fails, and basically these people are on, they're in risk of being killed. So from then on, there comes a very intense movie, and it's a very emotional movie too because you really feel for the characters. Mark Wahlberg gives a very good performance. I thought Peter Berg did a very excellent job at directing the movie, and the action scenes, they're very intense.
Cool.
I mean, there were times where I was like, holy crap. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat. Lone Survivor is a really good war film. I don't know if I would consider it like one of the greatest war films because there's so many great ones out there, but it's definitely a really solid one. And for me, it's one of Mark Wahlberg's best films. So that's basically why Lone Survivor is my number 5 favorite Mark Wahlberg film. All right, Andrew, what is your number 5 favorite Mark Wahlberg film?
All right. My number 5 is the most recent Mark Wahlberg film I saw, and that is The Italian Job. Now,
okay.
Now, The Italian Job it stars Mark Wahlberg, obviously, and it's also stars Charlize Theron, Donald Sutherland, Seth Green is in it, and Edward Norton. And basically what it's about is that they're in Italy, and they go to steal some gold, and then Edward Norton turns on them, and they try to get revenge on it.
Yep.
It was directed by F. Gary Gray, I believe, and it was a very fun film, very action packed. I really loved the performances of, in particularly Mark Wahlberg and Charlize Theron, and it was a nice action-packed film. It has some funny moments, have some I think lighthearted moments, and some action-packed fun. And it was like I said, one thing to describe this movie is that it was a really, really fun movie, and I had a lot of fun watching this. So it is my number 5.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have not seen The Italian Job, but after hearing Andrew describe it, I actually do want to see it. I do plan on seeing it at some point because in the future we'll be doing a top 5 Charlize Theron podcast, so I'll be able to check it out before that podcast.
And
but it sounds, is it like the Fast and Furious movies?
Kinda, yeah. But I personally like The Italian Job more than any of those movies.
Okay.
And they're actually been trying to make a sequel called The Brazilian Job. It hasn't been made yet. It's just been in talks and whatnot. It's pretty much, I guess, in development hell. But I really enjoyed The Italian Job.
All right, fair enough. All right, some people in the chat. Sammy, hello. Brian, my brother, saying the best movie is The Happening. Of course, he would say that. Justin Williams, hello. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so all right, thanks everyone for watching. All right, Nick Canino, what is your number 5 Mark Wahlberg film?
I'm sorry, I just couldn't help it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh god. My number 5 is one of 3 movies that Mark Wahlberg collaborated with Peter Berg in, and you'll actually see 2 of these movies on my list. My number 5 is a movie that I just saw last year, and it was in my honorable mentions, but I love this film. It was absolutely one of the best movies. It was one of 2 movies in September that I gave an A. Number 5, Deepwater Horizon.
Nice.
Yeah, great movie.
Good movie.
Good movie, and oh man, let me tell you, it's just that film blew me away. It blew me away as a disaster movie. It blew me away as a film inspired by a true story, and it blew me away as a movie in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially I really don't want to get into spoilers, but the scene involving the Coke can is one of the greatest, it's one of the best foreshadowing scenes I would see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the reason why I love Deepwater Horizon. It had a great story, great script, great direction by Peter Berg, fantastic acting, especially by Mark Wahlberg. He is amazing in this movie.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, great performance by him. I thought he should have been nominated for either that or the other film, Patriots Day.
Yeah, I agree. But as always, Oscars are just DOF's biased as shit.
Yeah, pretty much. It's unfortunate.
But back to what I was saying about Deepwater Horizon. The other performances are great, especially by Kate Hudson, who surprised me in this movie.
Yeah, same here.
Because back in the day, she used to be a bad actress, with many shitty movies that she was starring in. One in particular was on Bride Wars, which.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was bad.
That was
a terrible movie.
It was.
Yeah, it was really bad.
One of the worst chick flick movies of all time.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
But in here, she gives out a great performance. In my best of 2000, I forgot what it was in my other podcast, either the best of September or best of 2016 podcast, that she would also, before this one, she would voice one of the characters in Kung Fu Panda 3, in which she was really good in.
Yeah.
So it sounds like she had a really good year.
Yes, she did. And but no, in all honesty, the acting is amazing, especially by Mark Wahlberg, as I said. The musical score is great. The cinematography is amazing. Great pacing, great editing, and the visual effects are absolutely spectacular.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame that it didn't make its budget back like when it was first released because
Yeah, it was a box office flop, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, it's just one of those situations where you just think casual moviegoers love bullshit.
Yeah, 2016 had a lot of movies that were great, but unfortunately were box office bombs, and Deepwater Horizon was one of them.
Yeah, Nice Guys, Kubo, just to name a few.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just
It sucks.
It really does suck, especially with original films like The Nice Guys, Kubo, and others I could think of that in 2016 that were original. It's a shame that many of those movies back then didn't get a lot of attention as like the shitty movies did.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
It really is unfortunate that, it's just like that.
And Dirty Grandpa, I'm looking at you.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
All right, so
to finish this up, Deepwater Horizon is one of the best disaster movies ever made. If you want to see a great movie that's inspired by a true story, and if you want to see a great movie that involves the great collaboration with Peter Berg and Mark Wahlberg, definitely check out Deepwater Horizon. And I'll have another film with that collaboration between those two later on, I should add. So, yeah, check out Deepwater Horizon if you haven't. That's why it's my number 5.
all right, cool. Okay, guys, so that was our number 5. Now we're on to number 4. My number 4 is yet another collaboration between Peter Berg and Mark Wahlberg. It's not Deepwater Horizon. It's the most recent one, and that is Patriots Day.
That is also my number 4.
All right, nice. All right, so Patriots Day was on my best of 2016 list because it's such an amazing movie. What Peter Berg does so great, or what he has done consistently great with Lone Survivor, Deepwater Horizon, and Patriots Day, is that he doesn't make these movies into exploitation. He plays tribute to people. He shows respect, and he tells a story of how it is. After leaving the theater and watching the movie, you leave knowing what really happens, and it affects you in some kind of way. I was affected very emotionally by Patriots Day because I remember hearing about the news of the Boston bombing in 2013, and it was really shocking to hear. I didn't know what the aftermath was like. I didn't know the investigation or the kind of chaos that the city went into. And I thought Patriots Day did a really excellent job of showcasing of what it was like at that time. The acting is very excellent. And in my opinion, Mark Wahlberg gave the best performance between the 3 movies he's done with Peter Berg, because he almost brought me to tears in some scenes. He was so great. And the actors who played the terrorists, they did an amazing job because you really hated those guys. You were like, oh my God, these guys are like the lowest of the low, and you just wanted them to die. And I got to give credits to the actors because they did a really great job. Everyone did amazing, honestly. The movie was consistently entertaining, and it's a movie that received 0 Oscar nominations for God knows what. And it's a powerful movie. And I know some people were skeptical in seeing the movie because they thought Peter Berg was going to use this movie as a kind of exploitation, or that, they're just making this movie because, they just want to make a profit, when really it's not like that. Peter Berg has done based on true stories, and he's done fantastic tributes. Patriots Day is no exception. It's my favorite out of the 3, personally. I know some people have said this is a movie they can only watch once. I can understand that. I've seen it twice. I've loved it more the second time. I think it's a really excellent movie. So that's why Patriots Day is my number 4. Andrew, why is Patriots Day your number 4?
You said it perfectly, honestly. Patriots Day had me just so emotionally invested into this. And, Mark Wahlberg, I thought not only is it his best performance in a Peter Berg movie, but it was one of the best performances of 2016.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And like you said, it's a shame that this got 0 Oscars. I thought it should have
got nothing. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I think Mark Wahlberg should have got nominated. Hell, okay, have John Goodman nominated for this one. I mean, even though he should have been nominated for 10 Cloverfield Lane, but still, I thought John Goodman was really good. I really like Kevin Bacon. Like you said, the terrorist, the people who portrayed them were really good. And it really light to this because I didn't know much about what happened after the fact, and it was really entertaining because I learned a lot from this film, and it just it made me emotionally invested as it went on, and when they finally catch the second guy, it just made me so happy. And there's this one scene in particular that really, it's just so intense and thrilling is when they have the Asian student in the car.
Oh my God! Yeah,
that was so.
Yes.
That was such an intense scene. Probably one of my favorites in the movie.
Yeah, my heart was like beating at that scene. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, and honestly, good for that guy. That's all I gotta say. Good for that one Asian guy.
Yeah, for real. I agree.
For real. And you know, it was just an intense, emotionally driven film, and it just worked a lot. And I think it's Peter Berg's best film, and I think it's Mark Wahlberg's best film with Peter Berg. And it was on my. It was actually the last movie I saw for 2016, and it did end up on my top 10, which was nice. So, it's my number 4.
All right. So, Nick Canino, what is your number 4 Mark Wahlberg film?
Okay, my number 4 Mark Wahlberg film is another collaboration between him and Peter Berg, and I really wish it was Patriots Day, but even though Patriots Day is a great film, it's just the subject is like I can never see myself watching this again.
Yeah, and that's understandable. Like, I can understand why.
But I still loved it, though. I still loved it. I think it's one of the most memorable films, like, to come out of last year.
Mm-hmm.
But my number 4 is a film that you guys explained. Sort of. I had a technical malfunction. That's why I was like. But anyway, my number 4 is one of the last 3 movies that I got to see before I started making my best of 2013 list. The others were The Wolf of Wall Street, and then another one was The Invisible Woman. But before I did those reviews for those movies, it was actually Lone Survivor.
Okay, nice.
Oh yes, yeah, good movie.
Lone Survivor. You guys, Diego, you pretty much explained everything about what I loved about Lone Survivor. It's an incredible true story. It's one of the best war films I've seen this decade, and I got to be honest, this just might be my favorite Peter Berg film.
It is a good film.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, great movie.
Yeah. Long story short, everything in this movie is great. Great story, great script, especially a great, fantastic direction by Peter Berg. The acting was terrific. Mark Wahlberg, amazing as always in this movie.
Yep.
Great musical score, great cinematography, great editing, great pacing, and the war sequences were mind-blowing to watch.
Yeah.
Definitely.
They were.
So once again, long story short, Lone Survivor is my favorite Peter Berg film, and it's one of the best war films I've seen this decade so far, and that's why I voted it as number 4 of my favorite Mark Wahlberg films of all time.
All right. Cool. Okay, so that was our number 4. Now we're on to number 3. Now, I've switched 2 and 3 back and forth so many times because my number 1's a deadlock. I knew my number 1 before I even made this list. But 2 and 3, I was like, shit, I don't know, because I really love both of these movies. So, ultimately, this is how I put it. Even though for me, 2 and 3 are like pretty much on par, despite the fact they're completely different movies. So, what I picked for my number 3 is that poster right there, The Fighter.
That's also my number 3.
Oh, shit, look at that.
Yeah.
Actually, Andrew, if you want, you can go first, because I went first last.
I actually just saw this movie for the first time. Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday. I saw it for the first time on Sunday. No, I saw it for the first time on Monday. I lied. Anyway, I didn't know much about it other than it was a boxing movie and that it was based on a true story and that Christian Bale won the Oscar and Melissa Leo won the Oscar. And that, it starred the man of the hour, Mark Wahlberg. And I started watching it, and once you find out, once it gets into it, I was like into it, and I had a lot of fun with this movie. I really enjoyed it. The acting is on par. Like, yeah, a lot of great performances from Christian Bale, who rightfully deserved the Oscar. Melissa Leo, who rightfully deserved the Oscar. Amy Adams in this movie does a really good job. But my personal favorite performance was Mark Wahlberg. And I feel like that's because I related the most to Mark Wahlberg, because, all he wanted to do was be a boxer. And, he just wants to box. And his brother is very known for knocking down Sugar Ray Leonard, or as some people say, tripping, or whatever, or that Sugar Ray Leonard tripped. But, so he kind of lives in his brother's shadow, and he just wants to be as successful or even more successful than his brother, and he got to work. And his brother is not the best person in the world. He has some problems, and I just thought the writing was fantastic. The acting was fantastic. The directing by David O. Russell was fantastic, and I just like I said, I knew not that much about this movie. And by the end, I felt like I knew the whole story of these brothers. And I was very happy I watched it. And it's definitely a movie that I'm going to go back and I'll watch again because it's fantastic. And it's my number 3.
Yeah, Andrew hit the nail on the head with what he said. But I would go as far as saying that The Fighter is probably one of my favorite boxing movies. Because
it was really good.
Yeah, it's a really investing movie. Mark Wahlberg is really good, but for me, the standout by far is Christian Bale. Oh my God, he was just something else. Like, he was that character. He transformed. Yeah. Not just like his physical appearance, but like just to the character himself. You're like, oh my God, it's not even Christian Bale. That's his brother. And Melissa Leo, also really excellent. The acting from everyone, absolutely top notch. And it has so many, different types of genres into it. It's really funny in some points. Like, there's a part where Christian Bale in the beginning, he knocks out, like, his stepfather, or I think it was his stepfather. It wasn't his actual father.
Yeah, stepfather, because they have different last names.
Yeah, that was hilarious, that scene where he just knocks him out. And, it's a very emotional film, too. It's a true story. I've never, heard of the story because it came out in 2010. I was going to be a freshman I was a freshman in high school, so I didn't know anything about the boxer's life prior to watching the movie. So after watching the movie, I was like, wow, that's actually a really fascinating life. How you see how this one guy, he wants to do what he wants to do, but he has a family who cares for him, but they're so involved with drugs and with other things that, he goes through a lot of hardships in his life, and you see the amount of obstacles he goes through. It's a great movie. I have the Blu-ray, and I've seen it so many times. It's a film that even if you're not a boxing fan, or even a sports fan for that matter, you can still watch it and enjoy the hell out of it. It's a great film. It was one of my absolute favorite movies of 2010. It was, a big contender in the Oscars of that year, and rightfully so. Really good movie. So that's pretty much why The Fighter is my number 3 favorite Mark Wahlberg film. All right, Nick Canino, what is your number 3?
All right. My number 3 is an interesting choice because my number 3 is an interesting choice because it came out in my birth year, 1997, and this movie is for me because it's a strange little film, but at the same time, you just cannot help but be emotionally invested throughout the film. My number 3 is Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, this is directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, and Paul Thomas Anderson, to me, he's one of my favorite filmmakers working today. I'm mostly excited for his next film, which is Phantom Thread, which is supposed to be the last performance from Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, he retired. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Good for him though. He had a long career.
Definitely.
Oh, definitely. This is an interesting choice because Boogie Nights deals the subject of movie. It has the subject of pornography, but it actually dealt with that very well, especially since it's one of those movies where it's a riveting film to watch, especially with how well acted the film is, how well written the script was, how well directed it was, especially like it a great story about Dirk Diggler, who all he wanted to do was just be a porn star.
Yeah.
The script was amazing. The director by Paul Thomas Anderson was amazing. Mark Wahlberg, as always, amazing as Dirk Diggler.
Yeah.
The rest of the acting was great too. Plus, it features one of my favorite soundtracks of all time, especially since it has that 70s feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also got great cinematography, great pacing, great editing, and everything was just great, especially the production values and costume design.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It made you feel like you were in the 70s while watching it.
Exactly. Yeah, those reasons alone are why I voted Boogie Nights as my third favorite Mark Wahlberg film, since it is like one of the most mesmerizing and riveting films I've seen in my life. And once again, that's why I vote Boogie Nights as my third favorite Mark Wahlberg film.
Okay, awesome. All right, so guys, that was our number 3. Now we're on to number 2. All right, so you know how I said I switched 3 and 2 back and forth so many times? Well, my number 2 is a film Nick Canino just mentioned, and my number 2 is Boogie Nights.
That's also my number 2.
Dude, Andrew, our list is so similar. Holy shit.
I know.
Yeah, it's really like our number 5 is different, but so far we've had the same movies. But
maybe I'll have a different number 1.
Yeah, maybe not. We'll see.
Maybe I did like Planet of the Apes the best.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. All right. I'll go first. Boogie Nights is a really fascinating movie. Like Nick Canino said, it is a little strange, and I don't know if everyone would like this movie because this film is about the pornography industry, and since it is about that, there's a lot of very strong sexual content in this movie. And I know not everyone is very, they don't like that kind of stuff. So if you're not into that, probably don't see it. But if you don't mind it, you would be in for a really rewarding experience because it is a fantastic movie. This is actually I think this is the movie that set Mark Wahlberg on the map. I think this was known as like his breakthrough performance. And it's really fascinating to see how he started as a busboy in a restaurant, and you see like the rise and fall of his career. And everyone did an excellent job, not just Mark Wahlberg, but Burt Reynolds and Julianne Moore. Both of them actually received Oscar nominations for their performances. And this movie was not nominated for Best Picture or Best Director, unfortunately. Should have been, but it wasn't. And it's a really funny movie. It has the comedy is pretty dark, but like there's some scenes that are really funny, even though at the same time you're feeling bad for some characters. I won't go into spoilers. But William H. Macy is also in the film, a really great character. I liked him a lot. And Alfred Molina is also in this movie. And you only see him once. It's like one segment, but oh my god, that's like one of the best scenes in the movie, hands down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Don Cheadle makes an appearance. Boogie Nights it's one of a kind, honestly. It's it does follow like the typical rise and fall of someone, but it's told in such a unique way, and I loved it, man. It's a 2.5-hour movie. It doesn't feel like it. It actually runs by because you're so invested in the story. and in the movie itself. So Boogie Nights, if you haven't seen it, terrific movie. Please go see it when you can. I love it, and that's why it's my number 2. Andrew, why is Boogie Nights your number 2?
Boogie Nights is my number 2 because the reasons that you said. But well, what I really like about film, probably one of my favorite aspects of film, is when a film has really well written characters and really well written dialogue. And this
dialogue is excellent. Very good dialogue.
This had both. And I'll get there's a lot of films that I love like that, but this has really, really good characters and really, really good dialogue. Great performances by Mark Wahlberg, Burt Reynolds, Julianne Moore, Don Cheadle. It's a very well-rounded cast. Like Philip Seymour Hoffman's in this movie.
Yeah, that's right.
Plays a really good character.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody just. It's a very well-rounded cast, very well-rounded acting. Everybody plays their part, I think, very, very well. And I like what you like you said. You see he goes from nothing to something, and then falls, and then I won't spoil anything, but and then I like what Burt Reynolds is doing, because he doesn't want to make just a porn film. He wants to as he says, he wants to make a movie. Like, he wants to make a good film.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, it could be a little weird because it is about the porn industry.
Yeah, that's why I don't know if everyone would be on board with this, but I think generally film enthusiasts love it. Mostly everyone I know loves it, but
yeah. And one of the funniest scenes is at the end, involving a fake penis.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just found that really funny. I don't know, maybe because I it's so fake looking.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It was just so fake looking. But anyway, I know like the soundtrack was amazing, and
awesome soundtrack. Yeah, really great soundtrack.
And it really captures that feel about it's just a really, really good film. And like you said, it was nearly 3 hours, but it didn't feel like 3 hours because I was just so invested in the story and the characters and in Mark Wahlberg. I mean, towards I would say in the beginning of the third act, it kind of slowed down for me a little bit, but it's still a great film nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it has everything, honestly. Writing, directing, acting.
Mm-hmm.
Nails it all.
I thought it was weird seeing how young Mark Wahlberg was in that movie.
Yeah, definitely. One of his first performances, I think, and I said, that was his breakthrough. That was the one that put him on the map. People started to notice who he was. So. All right, so that was our number 2. Nick and Nina, what is your number 2 favorite Mark Wahlberg film?
My number 2 is the movie that you guys just explained in your number 3, and it is The Fighter.
Oh, nice. That's interesting because, like I said, my number 2, number 3 kept switching them back and forth, but it's funny how your 2 and 3 are mine, but in reverse order. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, it's just it doesn't matter whether you put a movie on either 2, 3, 4. It's all matter is you just love a movie for what you love.
Yeah.
But as Diego said, The Fighter is an amazing film. This movie is one of the best boxing movies I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it climbs up there with some of the I would say this is my 3rd favorite boxing movie, just behind Rocky, which won the Oscar for Best Picture, and Raging Bull, which is my 2nd favorite Martin Scorsese film.
Yeah, I love Raging Bull. So good.
It's really good.
And this movie did come out in 2010, and I would just that movie was my number 4 film of that year, just behind I know a lot of people had this as a number one. I had this as number 3, but it's just 2 more films I love came out that I love more. Like number 3 was Inception, and then number 2, 127 Hours, and then my number 1 film of that year was The Social Network.
The Social Network's a great film.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal movie.
It is. The Fighter is a great story, great boxing story filled with a great story, great script, great direction by David O. Russell, great acting. Mark Wahlberg is absolutely amazing in this movie, but Christian Bale steals the show.
Absolutely. Yep.
He steals the show in this one. Man, it's just amazing. The score is amazing. The cinematography is great. The great pacing, great editing. And I love the boxing sequence in the film.
Definitely. Yeah, really good boxing scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, Christian Bale absolutely deserved that Oscar.
Absolutely.
For first performance.
Yeah.
As did who won with Christian Bale? I forgot.
Melissa Leo.
Melissa Leo.
Melissa Leo won the Oscar.
All right. Thank you, Melissa Leo. They both deserved it. I think I would go as far as to say, aside from Silver Linings Playbook, this is like my favorite David O. Russell film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Overall, if you're a fan of boxing, if you like Mark Wahlberg, if you just love movies in general, check out The Fighter. It's amazing. That's why it's my number 2.
All right, so now we're on to our favorite Mark Wahlberg film. Okay, so my favorite Mark Wahlberg film is one of my absolute favorite films of all time. I love this movie. No, it's not fucking Transcendence. Shut up. Yeah, that's not even Mark Wahlberg's not even in that, you douche.
I said Transformers, not Transcendent.
Oh, well, yeah, still. No, hell no.
I know you love Transcendence too.
No, fine.
You have it. You do have it on DVD.
Okay, there's a reason for that. Anyway.
Yeah, because you love the movie and you bought it. That's the reason.
No, because you bought the movie for me. You fuck.
I did not buy
Anyway.
the movie. Ryan McDonald bought the movie for you.
Well, still. All right, well, anyway, my favorite Mark Wahlberg film is this movie here, The Departed. This is my favorite Mark Wahlberg film.
That's my number 1 as well.
I guess it could be my number 1 as well.
It's your number 1 too, Andrew?
Yeah.
Okay. The Departed is one of the best movies ever made.
Hold on.
Without question. This movie is amazing.
If you could be cool, I could be cool too and show off stuff from The Departed. Hold on.
Is that the Chris
You
Stuckman
can
book?
continue. Yes, it is.
Speaking of which,
The Departed.
Nice. I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah, it looks like I started a thing where you show like movies and stuff. But I'll explain real quick while Nick Canino's getting whatever he's getting. The Departed has such an amazing everything. That didn't really make sense, but what I'm trying to say is the acting from everyone, absolutely brilliant. Jack Nicholson gives one of the best performances of his career. He should have been nominated, but he wasn't. Matt Damon, Leonardo DiCaprio on the top of their game. And Mark Wahlberg, this is actually the only Oscar nomination he got for this movie, and rightfully so. I loved his performance in this movie. Every character in this movie is so fantastic. They're so greatly written. The dialogue is excellent. The story is so investing, and it's a movie that consistently and constantly like surprises you, and you just want to know what's going to happen next. You can't wait to see what's going to happen. And without giving away any spoilers, the elevator scene, when I first saw the movie, my jaw was dropped on the ground. I couldn't believe it. And from that point on to the third act, I was just so engaged, and holy crap. I can't praise this movie enough. The Departed is a film, it won Best Picture, and absolutely rightfully so, because it deserved it. Martin Scorsese won for Best Director. This is actually my second favorite Martin Scorsese film, because everything about it is genius. This movie is so good like I want to watch it right now. That's how great this movie is. Like I can just watch this movie anytime and I'll be like, hell yeah, The Departed's on, let's watch it. Because just everything about it, you know, the acting, the writing, the directing, the cinematography, just a brilliant film. I can't give this movie anything else but the highest praise. So that is pretty much why The Departed is my number one favorite Mark Wahlberg film, my second favorite Scorsese film, and one of my absolute favorite films of all time. So, Andrew, why is The Departed your favorite Mark Wahlberg film?
Well, no, you can't say it. All right. Well, basically, I have The Departed on iTunes, so that was a failed joke. All right. Anyway, back on track. The Departed is I actually just saw it for the first time recently. I had the pleasure of watching Boogie Nights and The Departed on the same day, which good for me. Anyway, like Diego said, this movie is absolutely fan-fucking-tastic.
Oh, yeah.
It is one of the best movies Martin Scorsese has ever made. It rightfully deserved that Oscar. Martin Scorsese rightfully deserved that Best Director. And it's a goddamn shame that Mark Wahlberg rightfully deserved the nomination. Jack Nicholson should have got nominated. Matt Damon should have got nominated. Leonardo DiCaprio should have got nominated.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really, really, really good film, and like everybody's good in it. And this Boogie Nights is almost a 3-hour film, and like Boogie Nights, it did not feel like almost 3 hours.
Not at all. It flew by like that.
Like I said in my Boogie Nights, with Boogie Nights, I love great characters with great dialogue, and this has amazing characters with amazing dialogue.
Absolutely.
And that final shot at the very end, brilliant.
Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, this whole movie is just incredible and brilliant. Every single frame is brilliant. I love this movie, and I can't praise it enough. I really can. You said why I like it, and I'm pretty sure Nick is going to say even more great things about it.
Yeah, so Nick, why is The Departed your favorite Mark Wahlberg film?
Well, in case you didn't notice, here it is.
Ah, nice.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that cover, that's actually, my poster's in the ceiling. It's similar to that. But
I have two posters right here. I got a Star Wars poster and a Ghostbusters poster.
Nice.
The reason why The Departed is my favorite Mark Wahlberg film of all time is because of how entertaining, well made, mesmerizing, and riveting this film was.
Yeah, definitely.
This is my third favorite Scorsese film behind Raging Bull and what I consider to be my favorite, Goodfellas.
Yeah, Goodfellas is my favorite as well. The Departed is my second.
Goodfellas is great.
It's a great movie, and you guys already know me with this. It's like my all-time favorite movie.
Yeah, I can definitely understand why. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, but the reason the Departed is like one of Scorsese's best films is, as I said, entertaining, riveting, mesmerizing, and just well made. But that's not the main reason. Great. It had an amazing story, fantastic script, fantastic director by Martin Scorsese. He rightfully deserved that Oscar. He deserved that Oscar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If they would have given it to a different director, I would have been furious. But thank God they didn't.
And that was his first Oscar. That was his first Oscar as well. That was his first Oscar too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, the acting was terrific. Of course, Mark Wahlberg. Need I say more?
Yeah. Awesome performance from him.
But also Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, and Jack Nicholson, they're all terrific in this movie.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah. Jack Nicholson, I don't know why he didn't get nominated because, my God, he was great.
Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, he was. He was. Well, Leonardo DiCaprio did get nominated for an Oscar, but it was for a different movie called Blood Diamond.
Yeah, Blood Diamond, right. Mm-hmm. Awesome movie.
It is a great movie without a question. It would be one of my top 10 favorites of 2006. Although I did wish he could have gotten nominated for that film, The Departed.
Yeah, he should have just been nominated for both of them. Just screw it.
Exactly. Exactly. The score by Howard Shore is amazing. The cinematography is amazing. The editing was amazing. Everything Thomas Schoonmaker edits, it's amazing. And the movie's like 2.5 hours long. It did not feel like that to me. It just flew by fast. But that's because of how great the pacing was.
Yeah.
And how great the dialogue was in that film as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some great action sequences in the film.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Amazing ones.
Mm-hmm.
And like you guys mentioned, the final shot of the movie is one of the most memorable things you will ever see in your entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And The Departed, that's why it gets the honor as not only being my favorite Mark Wahlberg film of all time, but one of my top 3 favorite Martin Scorsese films. If you have not seen The Departed, see it right now. It is a classic.
Yeah, it's like us talking about it makes me want to fucking see it like right now. Like, oh my god, I want to pop it in and watch it.
Exactly. Yeah, but once again, and that's why I voted the main reasons why I love The Departed are why I voted this film as like not only just my favorite Mark Wahlberg film of all time that he's in, but one of my top 3 favorite Scorsese films.
Yeah, definitely. It's also a pretty funny movie too. There are times I was just dying laughing. And
the humor worked.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, very much so. All right, so that's our favorites Scorsese films. I mean, Scorsese films. Well, Departed is one of my favorite Scorsese films, but what I meant to say was that was our favorite Mark Wahlberg films. All right, so now we're going to talk about our worst Mark Wahlberg film, because as much as I do love Mark Wahlberg as an actor, he's done some pretty bad movies. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, yeah.
He's done some pretty bad ones. Okay, so I'll go first for the worst. Now, this is kind of interesting because originally I had my worst. I had a worst movie. But today, I've been debating between 2 movies because these 2 movies are garbage. They're so bad. But I'll explain what my original one was. Originally, I had The Happening as my worst. But after thinking about it, I don't think it's my ultimate worst. My ultimate worst is actually Transformers: Age of Extinction.
Dude, that's my worst as well.
Age of Extinction?
Yeah, it's also my worst as
Transformers:
well.
Age of Extinction is your worst?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, I have the same worst as well.
Okay, all right. And I'll explain why I originally had The Happening. Like, I was going to go on the podcast tonight and say The Happening is my worst, but after thinking about it, Transformers 4 is my worst. And I'll explain why. Okay, The Happening is garbage, okay? That is a 0 out of 10. That's not a good movie at all. But The Happening, for me, it's similar to movies like Batman and Robin, The Wicker Man, because it's one of those movies that's so bad, you can watch it and make fun of it. Like, there are scenes that are so unintentionally hilarious. So at least there's that kind of positive thing where, like, you're laughing at how bad it is. Transformers 4, I was in torture the entire time. In the theater, I wanted to kill myself after seeing it. I'm like, oh my god, can this movie be bad? That's why I think that's why I prefer it less than The Happening, because Transformers 4, I had a much more unbearable experience. Okay, first of all, you guys know I'm not a fan of this franchise. Okay, the first one was fine. I'll give it that. It was fine. It was, like, decent. I hated the second one. Third one, I don't remember it that much. I remember it's better than the second. Still wasn't a fan. And Age of Extinction, which is the one I'm talking about now, absolutely hated it. Hated it with a passion. It felt like Michael Bay just got a big paycheck. I was like, okay, yeah, big paycheck, cool. I'm going to pay my bills. I'm not going to tell a good story. Let's just explode everything for 2.5 hours, make a movie with non-interesting characters and action scenes that suck so hard, and visual effects are so poor. and half the time you don't even know who's fighting who because the cinematography is so awful, and the humor is garbage. Not one funny joke. The jokes are like from a 5-year-old adolescent kid who doesn't know any better, and I hated this movie. I hated it. It was one of my least favorite movies of 2014, and that's saying. And well, I don't want to say that's saying a lot because 2014 was a great year, but between that and Transcendence, oh my God, what a horrible choice to pick between those two. Man, and it's boring too. It's near 3 hours long. It feels like 6 hours long, and it's a movie that should be entertaining because for God's sake, it's Transformers, but it's not. It's like, look, I know this movie has its fan base, and if you like this movie, fine, that's okay. You can like this movie if you want. Personally, I'll just never get it because I don't find these movies fun. I find these movies torture. Other than the first one, which, like I said, it was fine. Yeah, this was bad. The writing is garbage. The directing is awful. Michael Bay, you made 13 Hours last year. Surprisingly, that was decent. Just stay away from these Transformers movies, please. I haven't seen the new one. I'm not planning on seeing a new one in theaters. From what I'm reading the reviews, it's even worse than this one. So I don't even know what I'm going to do when I see that. So. Oh, God. Age of Extinction is my worst Mark Wahlberg film. Again, for me, I was going to pick The Happening. I had a much more torturous experience with Transformers 4 than The Happening. So, Andrew, why is Age of Extinction your worst Mark Wahlberg film?
I was actually the same boat as you, but it wasn't between Transformers and The Happening. For me, it was between Transformers and Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, that was bad. That was really bad.
Planet of the Apes has easily one of the worst twists ever.
Thank you. I was going to say the same
worst twists. One of the worst endings and twists ever made.
Yeah, it was so stupid. I could have said. And also, I'm sorry, Danny Russman asked, well, he said his worst is The Happening. Yeah, understandable. Would Max Payne be another god-awful Mark Wahlberg film? I would say so. Max Payne sucked.
Oh, God!
Max Payne sucked.
Yeah.
I was really excited for that movie, too. I saw the trailer. I was like, that movie looks awesome. I saw it. I'm like, what the hell was this? What did I just watch?
Well, it was directed by John Moore, so that pretty much explains it.
Yeah. Anyway, Andrew, sorry to cut you off, but why is Transformers 4 your least favorite Mark Wahlberg film again?
But yeah, it was easily like a more torturous film. Like you said, it was like over almost 3 hours. And I know Boogie Nights was almost 3 hours. The Departed was almost 3 hours. But the difference is those felt like, under like 2 hours. This one felt like it took like 10 hours. It was awful.
It did. It was awful.
This was easily the closest. And I never walk out of a movie. Never. But this is the closest I've ever been to walking out of a movie. Mm-hmm. Ever. I remember I saw it in theaters, and I'm like, oh, this one could be good. It's got Mark Wahlberg, a new direction. This was easily the worst.
It was the worst one. I'm sorry. It is the worst one. It's worse than a Shia LaBeouf one.
It is.
Yeah.
It's just easily the worst.
Uh-huh.
And, it was the highest grossing movie of 2014, and that pains my soul.
Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, like really, man. Like,
yeah, that it made so much money in the summer 2000. Well, actually, no, it was the highest grossing movie in 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And what pisses me? Yeah, well, what makes me so angry is that fucking Michael Bay keeps on going, oh, this is the last Transformers movie.
Yeah, my last Transformers movie.
It makes a cajillion dollars, so he's like, oh, never mind. And it's just like Diego said, it was boring as fuck.
It was boring, dude. It was terrible.
Yeah, like the characters were uninteresting. The humor was so bad.
Oh yeah.
And the action was awful. Everything. This gets a big fat nice goose egg for me.
Yeah, 0.
Fuck this movie.
For real. All right, Nick Canino. Why is Transformers: Age of Extinction your worst Mark Wahlberg film?
You guys pretty much explained it, but I'm going on an extreme rant on this piece of shit.
Go for it, bro.
Yeah, go for it. We're here for you. We understand your pain.
This piece of shit, tied with Ninja Turtles, is the worst movie I saw in 2014. Not just because of how boring it was, but because of how oh my god, how much I suffered through this.
Yeah, I suffered terribly in the theater.
I watched it on my computer. I was this close to walking out. This close.
Yeah.
This close.
That's really
And believe
cool.
me, I'm a nice guy in real life. But when you piss me off with a shitty movie, you do not want to mess with me because shit gets fucking real.
Yeah, this.
Everything you described is wrong. The story's so generic and idiotic. The script is one of the most atrocious scripts I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
The direction by Michael Bay. Fuck you, Michael Bay. Fuck you. Everything you stand for. Yes, I'll give you credit. You made the first Bad Boys movie, The Rock, first Transformers movie, and 13 hours with,
which was
and
surprisingly
13 hours with. Yeah, but other than that, you've been nothing but a shitty filmmaker.
Yeah, like I said, he should be sticking with the smaller kind of films. You know, like Bad Boys, like those kind of films he's fine with, but not this, not Transformers, not his style.
And even the acting's atrocious. Mark Wahlberg tries his best in this movie, but the script his character he's given to is just terrible.
And not to mention he's completely wasted too. He's wasted.
He is wasted.
Yeah. This movie,
Which is a shame because he's such a good actor and
yeah.
No.
I give this movie a big fat F for fuck you, Michael Bay.
That's what I would give it as well. A big fat motherfucking F for motherfuck you, Michael Bay, you motherfucking piece of shit.
Yeah, fuck you.
But besides that, the musical score is terrible. The cinematography is oh my god, it's one of the. Yeah. This is one of the worst cinematographies I've ever seen in my life because you guys know what they rely on. I'm going to give a demonstration for this.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, the action scenes are so bad, you can't even tell who's fighting who. And, I had a migraine after the movie was over. I'm like, oh my god. My head hurts.
God. And,
I thought the shaky cam in Hunger Games was pretty bad, but jeez.
Yeah, no, Transformers is way worse.
And let me tell you, I have seen the new Transformers film the last night, and that movie is even worse. You can go to my Facebook page for that review. I delve into what's wrong with that piece of shit movie.
Everything.
And it doesn't surprise me in this. And you know what? I'm sorry, Nick, but it doesn't surprise me in the slightest. You know why? Because it looks like the same old crap. It looks like the same thing over and over.
Old bullshit. Same old bullshit as like all the other Michael Bay films.
Yeah. Look, I'm not trying to hate on the movie. I'm not trying to say, oh, the new one sucks. I knew it. Haha. Look, what the Transformers movies do, they give great trailers because I will give them credit. The trailers look cool. But that's the way they market the people. It's like, oh, yeah, come watch our movies. And you watch the movie, you're like, dude, this is nothing like the trailer. This movie sucks. Well, that's why it doesn't surprise me that Transformers 5 is getting all these bad reviews and why people like Nick Canino, Jackson Fulcher, and a couple other people that have said the same thing Nick is saying, that surprisingly that's the worst one. And if it's worse than Age of Extinction, oh, God. I don't even want to see it.
It is worse than Age of Extinction. I am not making this up, and it's by far the worst movie I've seen this summer.
Oh, dear God. And I saw Snatch the other day, and that was garbage. Oh, God.
Oh, my God!
Oh, what was I going to say? Well, see, you were mentioning about the trailers. These trailers move big fat donkey dick. I fucking hated these trailers. These trailers weren't good. So the joke I was
trailer, which looked kind of cool. But then I'm like, yeah, I'm not falling for it though.
But the joke I was saying, which obviously it's not true, but after what Nick just said, but like I said, oh, watch this, these trailers are bad. Watch this be the only good Transformers movie. But obviously I'm wrong.
So back to what I was saying about Age of Extinction. The pacing is really sluggish as hell. This was 165 minutes of the film. It felt like 8 hours long.
Yeah, it felt really long. And actually,
really long.
Danny Russman made a good point. Like last year when I saw Age of Extinction, he said that the plot doesn't like start until like the hour and 15-minute mark. Because the hour and 15-minute mark is just them doing whatever, and you're like, oh yeah, we got a story to tell. Sorry, yeah, what story?
Yeah, see,
that was like, I had to take a break from that. Like, I seriously had to take a break from it. Like, I only took 2 breaks watching this film, and that's saying something.
Yeah.
The editing was atrocious. The ad sequences were horrendous.
Oh,
especially
awful. God, awful. Yeah.
Horrendous. Since they're just going.
Dude, it's like the South Park episode where they say how Michael Bay is gonna plan something, and he's like, yeah, first thing you go like blah, you go like blah 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 blah. It's so stupid.
I find it funny. You guys know who Epic Rap Battles is?
Yeah.
So
yes.
There's an epic rap battle they do between Hitchcock and Spielberg, and all these other like Tarantino shows up, Kubrick shows up, but the whole time they're making fun of like Michael Bay. There's at least one line each of them say that makes fun of Michael Bay, and then Michael Bay just shows up at the end and pretty much says, oh, I don't give a shit about any of you. I'm gonna make some money, and money. I'm gonna work on the sequels, and I'm just gonna make more money. And I'm like, honestly though, like that's true.
That's probably what he's like too.
Yeah, he doesn't give a goddamn shit about anything. He just wants money. He's a greedy fucking bastard. Fuck you, Michael Bay.
That's like another reason why, because as bad as The Happening was, look, I'm not defending The Happening, but at least it seemed like Shyamalan was at least trying to tell like an original story. Even though it's garbage. Transformers 4, Michael Bay was like, yep, screw it. Let's just make bullshit for a 2 hour 45 minutes, which feels like a 10-hour long marathon. And yeah.
I remember. You can go, Nick.
No, you can go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I remember movie fights like a long time ago. They were I think they were arguing like worst director or something, and it was like a battle between Michael Bay and Shyamalan. I'm like, dude, obviously Shyamalan's the better director. He's made 1, a lot more better movies. 2, Shyamalan actually gives a shit.
Yeah, even though like he's done a lot of bad, like The Last Airbender is. Oh, like don't
get me started on that. That was the second worst film I saw in 2010, just behind Vampires Suck.
Yeah, that was garbage. But and a lot of M. Night Shyamalan movies are. But my point is, Shyamalan at least attempts to tell a different story, and at least he tried something. Michael Bay doesn't with these movies, at least.
I mean, you guys can say what you want about Shyamalan. I mean, sure, he's not like the next Steven Spielberg or anything, but at least he tries to tell an original story in like his films.
Yeah.
With Michael Bay, he's just like, oh well, let's make a Transformers movie and let's just not give a shit and just worry about the money.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jumping bitch. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Michael Bay, you fucking piece of shit.
So that's pretty much why Age of Extinction is my worst stuff.
Yeah, finishing up what I was gonna say. Yeah. And plus it has cliches all over the place, and of course you're gonna spend racial stereotyping in the film, in every Michael Bay film. They have that there, and the ending is one of the biggest sequel bait endings ever.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Fuck this movie. Fuck Michael Bay, and fuck the casual moviegoers for making this the highest grossing movie of 2014.
Yeah, for real. And I hope to God, like again, I haven't seen the new one. I really hope it's not like the highest grossing film of the summer. I hope it's not. I don't want it to be.
Well, I know I know it's going to make number one at the box office, but I really hope to God it doesn't become that.
Yeah, like so far, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 has the highest opening weekend. If it remains that way, I'd rather have it be that than Transformers. So
same here. Yeah. So that pretty much explains why Diego, Andrew, and I have Transformers Age of Shit as the worst Mark Wahlberg film he's in.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, and that concludes our podcast. I want to thank everyone for watching, everyone who's been in the chat, I want to thank you guys too for joining me. It's actually kind of funny. All our lists are pretty similar. It's actually kind of
me and Diego had, but besides the fifth one, we had the same exact list.
Yeah, same one through 4 was exactly our same.
And we didn't even
have like a very similar list too.
Yeah, and like to be honest, we don't just really discuss our list beforehand.
No, we don't. I have no idea what's on Andrew's list.
I don't know what's on his list. I mean, I get most of the time I guess what's on his number one just because I know him so well. But still, I don't know what his 3 through 5 is, or 2 through 5.
Mm-hmm. So, that pretty much concludes our podcast. Do you guys have any closing statements or anything you want to say before I end the broadcast?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is "fuck you, Michael Bay, you piece of shit, kill yourself."
All right, and
oh man, thank you, Diego, for having me again on your podcast. I can't wait to be in more of this, just like I was in the top 5 Ridley Scott films and this one. And as always, I'm gonna quote this from Jerome.
All right.
Stay tuned for the next podcast with Diego. And once again, motherfuck Michael Bay, the money grubbing bullshit cocksucker.
Yeah.
and everything he stands for.
Yeah. All I'll say is that Michael Bay I hope this is your last one, the 5th one, so you can just do better films, because he can do better. But all right, so that's the end of our podcast. Next week, I'm very excited for, because it's going to be discussing the top 5 Quentin Tarantino movies. I am really excited to talk about this.
Easily the worst director of all time.
You can't even say that with a straight face.
You're right. I can't.
So joining us, obviously Andrew will be on, and 2 guests. Jackson Fulcher will be on the podcast, and Mr. Garrison Newkirk will make the first appearance on the podcast. So, yeah, it'll be really exciting. I'm really excited for that one. I hope to see you guys there next week. If you're Tarantino fans, I think you guys will like next week's podcast. But once again, thank you guys a lot for watching. Thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you guys again. And I will see you guys next week. Have a good week, and I'll see you guys next week at 8:00 p.m. Eastern, which is where all my podcasts will be on from now on, at least for some. So, yeah, until then, stay classy.
Peace.
Peace.